Hello, y'all, and welcome. Just gonna hang out for a second and get this stream started. An interesting one going on here today. Big news today. The media outlets are on fire today with all this big news that's coming out. It's definitely got my wheels turning. There's been an arrest officially in the Long Island serialist case. They've called it the Long Island Four, linking 4 victims that were found all along Ocean. I think it was Ocean Boulevard, something like that. Hello, welcome. So they've arrested Rex Heuermann, okay? Heuermann. I'm not exactly sure how to say that. In connection to the Gilgo Beach. Hello, thank you. Hope you are well as well. Thanks for stopping by. Please hit the like button, y'all. Please, let's get this video to the algorithm. Let's support small channels like me. Covering this breaking news, right? Rex Heuermann. And we're going to watch, I think we're going to see if they're streaming live. If not, we're just going to watch some video about this. And breaking news, right? A serial killer potentially has been apprehended, arrested. Very good news. If it's him, let's cross our fingers. It's looking like it is with all the crazy Google searches. That actually reminds me that that's something I wanted to pull up here and kind of have ready to go with my presentation, because I feel like the Google searches are really telling. Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach Killer, responsible for potentially around 11 homicides here, right? All the bodies recovered on Gilgo Beach, kind of different locations, some of them lumped together. Because some were lumped together, I'm guessing maybe there was some kind of evidence mostly linking those 4 together, that they were able to bust him on those 4. But it's looking like he's definitely, probably, allegedly responsible for a lot more. So let me just search something real quick here. Try not to get a weird look on my face when I search, because I totally do that. Okay, but this is big news and I'm really excited to hear this, but it also gets my wheels turning, and I really want to honestly look at some similarities about the potential Portland serialist situation, because this is somebody who's been hiding in plain sight for all these years, right? Operating in secret, in the shadows, committing some really heinous acts. And I kind of feel like there's something similar going on over here on the West Coast, all right? And I'm going to tell you why. If you haven't seen my other video, please go check it out. Okay, so we'll have to search that. We'll get there in a second anyway, just letting people kind of come by. Intense searches, yes. All right, so I'm sure you guys are already following this. I'm sure you've already heard. And let's just pray for justice for the victims, because that's what this is always about, right? I'm the spiritual genie. I'm a psychic medium, but I also do true crime. And so I'm kind of doing my own independent media, independent reporting on this channel. And I definitely plan on doing some more boots on the ground stuff. Investigative reporting here coming up soon. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat. We've got someone laughing in there. Please be respectful, and if you don't, you will go ahead and get put in timeout, okay? So please just be respectful. And if you're laughing, I hope it's because I said something funny and not because you're being snarky. Although I can appreciate good snark that's done in good taste, negative energy is not welcome in this space. So, all right, let me just share screen. Sorry, I don't know why I'm like nervous, because I feel like this is exciting. It's exciting that this person who's been going around hidden in plain sight, operating right under our noses, is finally being apprehended. So let's just hope this is our guy, right? Let's at least get this up here for a second, right? Okay, so whatever. I'm gonna ignore the chat because it's not important. You know what? Actually, we're gonna put you on timeout because I'm not gonna deal with negative energy today. Thank you. Bye. Here we go. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many views I have because this is a live stream that's gonna get uploaded to my channel after I'm done streaming anyway. So try not to disrupt the flow here. Let's go ahead and watch this video. Hopefully they let me do this. I think they do. I do it a certain way. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. Let's see. And maybe I just leave that music going in the background, but we turn it down a little bit. Where's the volume setting? And here we go. Oh, and now we don't have volume on this one, of course.
Bring in CBS News correspondent Michael.
Right, so no, this isn't live, and it was live earlier,
Gilgo
so.
Beach serial case. Suffolk County's court documents show Rex Heuermann is facing 3 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of second-degree murder. He's accused of killing Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello between July of 2009 and September of 2010. Heuermann was arrested last night and arraigned this afternoon. Officials say the body of Marine Baynard Barnes was also found with the other 3 victims. However, Heuermann is not facing charges in connection to her death at this time.
For more, let's bring in CBS News correspondent Michael George. Michael, what can you tell us about what happened in the courtroom today?
Well, Errol, Lana, for more than 10 years, this has been one of the most notorious unsolved serial murder cases on the East Coast. Finally, this is the break that law enforcement waiting for, the arrest of Rex Heuermann. We're learning some more details about exactly what led them to this suspect after more than 10 years. But just to give you a little background, where we are right now, Gilgo Beach, this is where the first victim's body was discovered in a burlap bag more than 10 years ago. And then after that, police started finding more and more bodies. At least 10 victims that we know of.
But this guy's been
10 years,
busy.
No major break in the case. That all ended in the last 24 hours with the arrest of Rex Heuermann. We do expect him to appear in court on 6 counts of murder shortly, and a lot more details to come about how they actually tracked him down. One thing that we do know, the clinching piece of evidence, a discarded pizza box that investigators took and linked DNA evidence to him. So we're awaiting some more details, but that is one of the key pieces that finally led to this arrest.
Wow.
That is a fascinating detail, Michael George. Talk to us more about last night's arrest. What else have you learned about what investigators were looking for on the property? What led them there?
Well, early indications from court documents is they've been looking at Heuermann for some time now. We don't, again, know what it was that initially triggered that, but they visited his home, which is about 20 miles from here, where some of the bodies were discovered. It's about a 20-minute drive in Massapequa Park, a small red home in a quiet neighborhood, very unassuming. And what police say they discovered there were burner cell phones, some of which included details of calls that he allegedly made to some of his victims' family members after the murders. So they say that they found several pieces of critical evidence at his home, and that was part of the investigation. Police are still...
So just good old-fashioned police work. Some people were wondering, was it DNA? So it was a little bit DNA, and it was also a little bit phone records and things like that. I know there's been a lot of dispute in the Idaho case about phone records being valid or even being like a good form of evidence, or if that's going to hold up in court. But it looks like, you know, it's legit nowadays with the way technology is, I think, to go ahead and rely heavily on, you know, electronic forensics here.
At that home right now, even as he's awaiting facing a judge in court.
It just gets more strange as you kind of lay out what's happened. I mean, I know for people in this part of New York, this part of the country, this has just shaken them to the core. Not only that there have been so many deaths and missing people, but that whoever may be behind it was still out there. What type of reaction are we hearing from the victims' families and even the community as we all learn more today?
Well, Errol, I can tell you that anybody who lives in this neighborhood here on Long Island, they've been aware of these murders for many, many years, but very few people expected that the killer would be found in such a quiet, unassuming neighborhood. Of course, it can happen anywhere, but neighbors are saying that they are shocked. Here's what we know about the suspect. He's an architect who works in Midtown Manhattan. He's a husband,
prominent figure, just blending in.
So again, as we're learning more and more details about the suspect,
very similar to the Portland potential Portland serial killer case. Just saying,
tremendous relief that after 10 years and the possibility that they had considered that this case would never be solved,
rising over here
they
too.
are hopeful that this is finally the resolution they've been waiting.
This guy's been walking around for years.
Michael George, a lot of very stunning new developments. Thank you.
Now we turn to Pat Milton, the senior
Me
producer.
too, thank God. But it's like they say at any point in time that there's at least a few active,
every twist and turn of this
you know,
case
and it seems like they tend to
we just heard
lean toward, you know, like cities, and in this case
of murder
and also in the Portland case, what I think is preying on vulnerable
3 women
classes of
for a
people,
total of
right?
6 counts. Just talk to us about
this guy was a real creep, though. I mean, they found stuff involving, you know, kids.
Well, Errol,
as far as
yes,
like digital,
Michael's report was,
you know,
just
on his computer or whatever,
but we
and
are
that's
hearing right now,
and
though,
there was
that
thing,
he did
you know,
face a judge
an infant
in
that was a
Suffolk
victim
County
potentially,
and pled not guilty to the charges against him, and that he was ordered held without bail at the request of the Suffolk County prosecutor. We did recently learn too that he was arrested in Manhattan late last night. He has an office, an architect's office in Manhattan, and he was arrested nearby, not at his home in Massapequa Park. But police, state police,
doesn't he give John Wayne Gacy vibes?
Did have a raid on his home. And interesting enough, his home is right across the bay.
For me, he's giving John Wayne Gacy.
Gilgo Beach is where
like I'm so full of myself.
Many of these,
look at me, I'm so amazing. Searching my own case. Why can't the cops find me?
As Michael
you're not
just
that
pointed out,
smart,
that,
buddy. Eventually, you're going to get
charged
caught.
with the murders of 3 of the women. He's a suspect.
He did go free for quite a while. I didn't even know about
one
this
other.
Though.
And we don't know whether he will be connected to
Makes you wonder about the Austin cases
10,
as well.
Women that have been killed, and part of this unsolved murders.
Who knows if there's maybe more, but it seems like this guy was definitely sticking to the Gilgo Beach area as far as where he was depositing
in this area.
His victims.
We had heard from Aaron earlier that 4 of them
I saw that in an article.
All have been having earmarks of potentially having the same perpetrator. When you say one other, I'm assuming that's Maureen Brainerd Barnes that you're referencing. Why are we not seeing charges in connection to her death?
Well, for some reason, the district attorney
I had heard someone was making posts online somewhere about they were going to come out and be known as the next serialist.
That particular
and
murder.
I have no idea where I think one of my coworkers told me
He's having the district attorney's having a news conference at 4, and hopefully we'll get more details on that. Just to add to what Michael had so described so well in detail, that one of the evidence that the police were looking at is that a pickup truck was found, was seen in the area by a witness. And early on, they had told police about this pickup truck. And I think that
I'm getting very, very similar vibes about the Portland situation, you guys. I can't let it go.
And then as Michael just so fascinatingly described, the pizza box, getting the DNA, then getting a burner phone, realizing that he had made several calls to the victims and to the victim's sister on this burner phone.
All of that sounds like incredible.
See, no, the one thing like I do want to bring to light again, and I have mentioned this, I think, is that
this case, I can remember, we just saw some file footage from 2010.
So, you know, in cases where they've known that there is a serialist on the loose, they have ruled deaths when they find them, when they discover bodies, they rule them as suspicious. Now, I'm telling you, like in these cases with some of these women who've been found around the Portland area, a lot of their deaths have been labeled suspicious, which makes me think, you know, they're not going to tell us like what's up, but like if it's being labeled as suspicious, I'm pretty sure that probably means you get the hint, you know. I'm pretty sure that it means there's a serialist. And So I guess I need to learn more about that. I don't know about that. I saw the name Shannon Gilbert when I was doing research, but like I said, I haven't even actually been looking into this one that much. So maybe that's something I should look into. Or if you want to go ahead and tell us, let me put this comment. So yeah, thank you, Miss Anonymous, for commenting. Yeah, it's eerily parallel. I agree. There's definitely got to be somebody over here on the West Coast that's also hiding in plain sight. That is the last victim. Yeah, definitely. It seems like, in some way, I feel like there are these women or the victims that, even if it's on like the spiritual level, I don't even know. Like, it's fates that intersect. You know what I mean? Sorry, and it's a strange fate to have to endure in this life, but thankfully, because of her, 555 I just saw, thankfully because of her, Shannon, that this monster hiding in plain sight was caught. So I didn't know that. Thank you for informing me. Let's see about watching.
I remember back in 2020, police were releasing an image of something on a belt, an emblem on a belt they found near the scene of the crime. I'm wondering, was Heuermann someone who was on investigators' radar? And if not, were they looking for someone who may be a resident in the area? I know that at that time, they knew it was someone who knew the topography and that bodies could be hidden in the brush.
See, that's how I feel about the person over here.
What were they working on?
Yeah, I'm really not
familiar
sure,
with
Errol,
the
what
back
they were
roads,
looking at. It was just such a puzzling mystery. And what had happened is one of the victims was reported missing by family members, and that would spark
13 bodies. Wow,
to
that's
go search for
a lot.
her. And in searching for
Notorious.
her with
Holy
cadaver dogs and
good
with
thing
police,
this guy got caught. He probably would have just
across,
kept on going.
4 bodies, which they call the Gilgo 4. The bodies, the remains of 4 other women other than Shannon Gilney. So, but they did eventually find her remains too.
All right, Pat Milton, still.
There we have it.
I might add, though, that the Suffolk DA and the new police commissioner out in Suffolk County formed a task force about a year ago to just determine to find out what happened here. And FBI also joined in the task force, and it was the result of this investigation by the task force that resulted in the arrest of Mr. Hurst.
See, I feel like they don't want to get a lot of times the FBI involved, though, because they are afraid of what the FBI is going to unearth. Basically, when the FBI gets involved, pretty much like everyone's dirt comes to the surface, like even all the detectives and everyone that works for the police force. So a lot of times it is kind of like, yeah, I think like sometimes police forces, especially if there's corruption, they may be apprehensive, to actually let the FBI get involved. So it seems like once the FBI finally got involved here, not that I'm saying they're all great all the time, heck no. They're definitely very corrupt in certain ways. And we've seen even innocent people get pinned with crimes that they were not responsible for doing. So that kind of thing does happen, unfortunately. They can't be perfect, right? But you can't just pin a crime on someone that, it's not them. So they wanted to be sure here in this one, and it seems that they were. And let's read this article here by Oxygen about the victims and take a look here. Who were all the victims and suspected victims in the Gilgo Beach homicides? Okay, I just wanted to double check you guys can see that. 10 victims have been officially linked by law enforcement as a series of serial killings, which have resulted in remains being scattered across Long Island's beaches. Oh, we got a video, an ad. Police have arrested a suspect in connection to a string of killings that have been referred to as the Gilgo Beach murders. The arrest comes after the Suffolk County FBI and New York State Police launched a new investigative task force in February 2022. Took a while. The agency said they hope to reinvigorate the case through new avenues of investigation. So it's like this guy went dormant for a little while or what, until he finally did take his last victim. Okay, when the police began digging the beaches of Long Island, they uncovered what they thought were the remains of Shannon Gilbert, whose family was relentless in their search for answers. So being relentless in your search for answers, if you happen to be a family member that watches this to a victim, especially over here in these Portland, Oregon cases, in the surrounding areas, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. We're going to talk about this one, then we're going to talk about that. But if you are a family member that's watching, be relentless in your, let me turn this music off. I really hope that's not bothering you guys. Be relentless in your pursuit for the truth here, right? Because the more that all of us make a fuss about things and we don't let them just tell us like, oh, there's not a problem, it's okay, even though, you know, there might be women disappearing and people starting to become alarmed as a result, and the police are over here just like, oh no, you know, it's okay. Oh, pause. There we go. Sorry, that always takes me forever to figure out. You start getting nervous, like, well, where's the button? Okay. So, but whatever. Let's all take a deep breath. This is it's big news. Okay, so they were relentless. Shannon Gilbert's family was relentless in their search for answers, but then little by little, police found more and more bodies along the stretch of water. In total, they found the remains of 11 women. The relatives of these friends, sisters, mothers, and daughters. But then we also have what? A man that was dressed as a woman, unidentified, and we also had an infant, no? The relatives of these friends, sisters, mothers, and daughters connected with one another as investigators began to realize that there was a killer on the loose. That's where you got the number 13. It might be right. It might be the full mod. The elusive, see how I backpedaled a little bit right there, though, but good save, no? The elusive murderer or murderers known as the Long Island serial killer. Look at me just using all these words. Hello. The Gilgo Beach Killer and the Craigslist Ripper. As that's what these feel like. Even over here, I'm telling you, like, it feels modern day Ripper vibes, right? Even the way that the bodies are recovered and found, like, super weird. The burlap sacks has been officially tied by law enforcement to the slayings of 10 people. There were an additional 6 bodies, including Shannon's, found along Long Island's beaches that have not been officially linked to the serial killings, but theories have put forth that their deaths could also be connected. Oh, really? That's kind of like, I mean, that's a little ridiculous. Like, you really think they're not connected? Of course they are. Like, the guy's Google searches or the guy's search history would let you know instantaneously that there definitely is a connection. Hello, it is craziness. I know, it's like finally that this person gets apprehended, but took a while. So we're reading right now an article by Oxygen. We watched a little bit of this video by CBS, just kind of highlighting what's going on and how the suspect was apprehended, and really interesting. Some good old-fashioned police work. The FBI and the police forces all joined forces. I'm going to say it another time, to make another task force, which this new task force actually did lead to the finding of this weirdo. All the while, the families of victims fought to make sure that their slain relatives were remembered as more than sex workers. They're not here to defend themselves, so I have to do it. Lorraine Ella, mother of one of the victims, said at a memorial for several victims in 2012, LongIsland.com reported at the time. Yeah, it's really wrong of anyone to go ahead and say that anyone has it coming just because of, you know, the work that they're doing or whatever. Like, that is not right. That is lacking in compassion, like no empathy. So don't say anything like that and correct people that do, because all these people are someone's family member, and it's tragic. And I can't imagine how traumatic to find out that your family member was done in such a horrible way. Like, I just experiencing grief in our own family. I can't really imagine that if the circumstances were something like that. It's different. It leaves a different kind of hole in you, you know? Shannon's sister, Sarah Gilbert, told CBS News 48 hours back in 2011 that she felt like her sister was being unfairly judged by police. See, that's kind of what I'm wondering too here. Like, is there a problem where the police are not taking this seriously in these cases, and potentially the cases going on over here on the West Coast related to the Portland surrounding areas? The bodies that have been being found over here, which we already know, like one of them they've said, I think, is being ruled, 2 of them are being ruled as a homicide. One of the women was unnamed, and her body was just found. And there was a woman who was found 18 miles away from her, not far off, in the same county. So that's like 3 women from the same county over here. You have them all being like being dumped off in similar locations near a freeway. you know, off the side of the road, kind of hidden away, maybe in an abandoned building or something like that. And the police want to say there's no connection. Please do not insult our intelligence. It's not fair just because the women maybe were homeless or maybe addicts, you know, struggling with addiction, or maybe even like engaging in like sex work. There's no reason to judge people like that. Like they, you know, I've been on hard times. Like it's sad for the family members. It doesn't matter where or what their background is or where they came from. They're not here to defend themselves, so I have to do it. Oh, we already heard that. Okay, and okay, wait. Oh, in the movie, being unfairly judged by police, she echoed her mother's sentiment put forth in the new movie. Was that a movie, the movie on Netflix or something where this was mentioned? I believe they judged her by her profession and not as a person. She said, not as the missing sister, the missing aunt. They're just, oh, a missing prostitute. Isn't that too bad? That our law enforcement would look at any member of society with such a belittling eye, you know, so demeaning. So what? They're literally saying they didn't take this case seriously because, oh, the women were all just sex workers. Oh, well. Oh, well, about the homeless woman over here. And I feel like maybe some people were saying maybe one of these might not have been like related. I can't remember which one exactly. Don't quote me. Just kind of learning about all of this right now. And I just am noticing the striking similarities to the West Coast case. So it's like I have to talk about it because I'm doing my own sleuthing. And I feel like there is talk in the streets in Portland about the women not being taken seriously, that there's someone hunting them. And I don't think that's fair to them. And I want to maybe try to give a voice to them, or at least find some clues that might help. Right. This I did hear about, which is, Someone made a good point too. Like, I think it was on Gray Hughes Investigates. Now, this isn't a whether you like him or not session. I do watch his channel. I feel like he's very informative. He's really sassy. I'm not going to lie. But so he was just talking about the way all these bodies were found. To say that they're not all connected is kind of weird because like even the side of the road that they're like found on, it's usually like a spot where you can just pull right off the road and go ahead and just right, dump them off or bury them or whatever in the burlap sacks. That is so strange. Right, like on the same little stretch right there, like that was his personal little dumping ground. I mean, he was even Google searching like, why haven't I been caught yet? Like, maybe because you were taking out victims that nobody cared about. Why can't I find the Google searches? I mean, I couldn't read them on here anyway. Where did someone find that? If someone could figure out where I can find that right now so I could pull it up, that would be helpful. I cannot find that. I looked up Google searches, maybe computer searches? Can't find it. Don't want to waste too much time. Sand dunes and marshland. Okay, yeah. So because I saw them going through with the like what looked like a giant, kind of like a tank thing. Had like a big old I can't think of words right now. It had a big old like belt situation kind of on it, is how it drives, like with a track thing, not wheels. People are like, this girl cannot. So I don't know. That's just an image of Gilgo Beach. I think there might be an article attached to that one. I'm going to keep reading this article really quick. Here are all the victims that have been linked to this heinous string of killings, starting with the 10 victims that law enforcement have officially said were killed by the Long Island serial killer. The first 4 victims that found have been given the moniker the Gilgo 4 by law enforcement. The Idaho 4, the Gilgo 4. Remember in the Idaho case too? I know I've brought this up already, but remember when they did tell everyone that in the Idaho case, they told everyone there was no reason to think that there was a threat still out there, which was being said, you know, in the Portland cases, and maybe even was being said potentially around these cases. I know people that are locals have come forward even and have told me just in some of my inquiries that they didn't know about any of this because a lot of it was being kept hush hush, or at least they didn't know about all of it being like connected. Maybe they didn't even know about like the organ stuff. Wow. Melissa Barthélemy. So this is Melissa Barthélemy, 24, was the first victim to be found. Her skeletal remains were discovered in a brush area off Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach on December 11th, 2010. As investigators searched for Shanann, December 11th, interesting. Search for Shanann. Isn't that the day that, like, didn't something historical go down on that day? Maybe that's someone that I know's birthday. I don't know. You guys know. Post it in the comments. As investigators searched for Shanann, according to the Suffolk County Police Department, skeletonized remains refer to a body in its final stage of decomposition. Most bodies take a few months to a year to reach this stage, depending on environment and other factors. Well, especially also since it was like moist there and he put them in the burlap sack, you know, things would definitely be breaking down. Oof, creepy. Okay, so there's a picture probably of a marker where her body was found. Last seen on July 12th, 2009 in the Bronx. Wow. So about a year she was out there. I'm not going to read all of that. She loved New York City, he said. She loved the excitement of the city. She loved to shop. That's what she was, a shopper, her uncle Jim Martinez said. He said his niece had the most wonderful personality I've ever seen, Martinez said. She was just so full of life. She is definitely beautiful. It's so sad to just think about like these women's fate, you know, in their last moments, and like how much fear, if there was even time for you to know, but obviously there would be like some moment or point where you would realize like you were in danger. And it's why this is particularly heinous. And you feel so bad for, sorry. You feel so bad for the victims and the families, just because knowing that your loved one endured that type of suffering in their last moments is just more than I think most people could imagine to bear, you know? Amberlyn Costello, 27, was the second victim to be found. Her skeletal remains were discovered 2 days after Barthelemy's remains were found. She was found 0.16 miles away, also just off Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach, according to police. So it's like, you know, they know that all of those are connected, all the bodies that have been found along, what is it, Ocean View Boulevard here, or is it Ocean Parkway? I keep calling it that. Why do I keep calling it that? Because there's a place off Ocean Avenue. No, I'm just kidding. So Ocean Parkway, yeah, they know that all those bodies are connected, but you can only say for what you have evidence, right? You can't just be like, oh yeah, he did it to all of these unless you have the sufficient evidence to back it up. Born in Charlotte, North Carolina, and raised in the state's charming coastal city of Wilmington, Long Island outlet, Newsday reported she was married twice in her young life and adored her 4 nieces. According to the outlet, she was very involved in faith and her local church. And then so what happened? That was like in her, okay, wait. Costello's older sister, Kimberly Overstreet, said she brought Costello to New York a year before her death to get her admitted into a rehabilitation program. While she got sober, Overstreet told Newsday that sex work led her down the path of using again. So that's sad. She seemed like she was doing well. She was good. And then, you know, it's easy to judge people, but it's also really hard to battle addiction. Like, it is a disease and it's extremely lonely and it's easy to relapse. And, you know, it's like, I can't say for myself, like I've pulled myself out of that. And for me, it wasn't an option of like going down that route. It was never an option. So I knew like when I was struggling with my own issues and addiction that I had to I knew that it was not going to be like the lifestyle I was going to inevitably choose for myself, as hard as it was going to be to get the help I needed or to do whatever it takes to do what I need to do. Like, it's my main focus. And I mean, we have to be gentle with ourselves if we do slip up in life, and have compassion for ourselves and have compassion for others, right? That's why I say, like, it doesn't matter, like, if these women relatively normal life until. Wow. So then the skeletal remains of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 25, were found third and the same day as Costello was found, only 0.05 miles away, right there, pretty close, in a brush, according to police. Lived in Norwich, Connecticut, last seen in Manhattan on July 9th, 2007, where she was staying in a Super 8 hotel. So all these crimes were committed like a while ago. Is that true? Was there like a recent one that was done? And is that what got him busted? Let me go back to the chat. New York Post. Oh, okay. I think I had that one. No, I didn't. I have the New York Times one. Here we go. Okay, so we'll look at that one in a second because I just am curious. Wow, 4'11". These women are all like very small, very petite, very easy to subdue, right? I'm gonna go ahead and say too, like, I mean, Kristen Smith over here, Gresham woman who was found, 22 years old, also just barely 100 pounds, you know, sweetheart too. So it's just, you see, like, of course, these predators do choose people that they know are just weaker than them in like physical stature and whatnot. I'm pretty sure all these women are. See, single mother of 2. Her children were 8 and 1 when she vanished, who grew up in Groton, Connecticut. It's also easy to, like, I guess, say like, oh, just go get a job. But maybe it's not that easy for these women to just like, oh, go get a job. You know, they're raising their kids. They need to make sure their kids eat. Like, you accidentally fall into doing that kind of work. And then it's the work that you know, and it's the work that puts food on the table. It's the work that they're going to do, you know? But for nowadays, though, the reason that there are a lot of sickos out there nowadays, and just with the sheer number of population, you have to look at the ratio, and the numbers will tell you, like, at any given time, there are definitely there's a large number of offenders out there of various kinds. I mean, we talk about, you know, the exploitation of humans on here at times, and the buying and selling of, and it's like, that's one of the hugest industries in the world. It's one of the biggest money-making industries in this world. So it's just, there's a lot of narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths in the world, right? Psychopaths, especially like this one, very good at hiding, except for once you start looking at their character, it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe you're looking a little off. Oh, that's so bad. Yeah, so this is the type of content that this person was engaging with, which tells you everything you need to know about them, right? And I mean, wow. That's crazy. But that's how it starts too. You do wonder, like, how much do these guys, like, seriously idolize these other killers that have come before them? Like, they just have such inflated egos. And he lives in his childhood home, which I think is really strange. Like, he lives in his childhood home. And sorry, I'm going to share another article here in a second. Why is it so big? It doesn't need to be that big. I don't know. I'm just sensing definitely like some weird vibes. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, with his hatred toward women, like, he's got to have probably some kind of like trauma in his history, potentially. I mean, I know that's not always the case, but like a lot of times There's definitely a twisted relationship with the mother, fueling their hatred toward women. So they will prey, on women and are just like all about power and control, which it does feel like this one was about, because he definitely selected his victims to be much smaller and just less strong in stature than him. Is that the word? Is that the right word to use right there? Now we have another one. Megan Waterman, 22, found on December 13th as well, 2010. 0.07 miles away. I'm sure once all these were being found, for anyone that was living in this area at the time was probably like, okay, well, there's definitely a serialist in our area. And I bet police were saying nothing. Till people start raising a fuss like Shanann's family, who wouldn't give up. So whoever's watching this, don't give up. Be loud if you have a platform, if you have a YouTube channel, whatever, on your Facebook, everywhere. Let's be a voice for the voiceless, y'all. And I think the more that we push, I think we've been able to see lately, the more we push, like they kind of have to acquiesce. We've seen it in the Idaho case, because it's like the public is very, very, very involved with that case. And they know that. They know how it is nowadays, and they know our level of involvement, right? The Mirror. Oh, I think I did pull that one up. I had that one up. The Mirror article. Is it this one? No, I'll find it again. Pizza crust. How cops busted ogre-like Gilgo Beach suspect Rex Heuermann. Oh, not the New York Post trolling the serialist. Yeah, troll him. I like it. I'm not, but the New York Post clearly is. Oh, I'm not even showing you guys that. That's really creepy right there. So yeah, just look right off the side of the road, all dark. Imagine he's doing these nefarious things in the nighttime, right? When nobody's around, probably really wee hours of the morning. Ugh, these ones are like, they're night people, night walkers. Actually, not even people. I mean, these are like demonic entities walking around in human flesh that are capable of doing these types of things. So, you know what? Let me keep going. Jessica Taylor, there's another victim. She was found after the 4 and then later identified. Oh, okay. So this says her body's head and hands were removed and missing. Okay, so I had wondered, that's why they were calling him a ripper. What did they call it? Long Island Ripper? Or something like that? Well, that's why they were comparing him to Jack the Ripper, because this one was apparently with the head and the hands completely off. Terrifying. Oh, that's really, really tragic. I'm so sorry for you that you had to go through that. Ugh. But that, like, yeah, that's so weird. They like, it's their calling card, they start, but maybe they try to change it up. They think they're being clever, but I don't know how really clever they're actually being. Like, it's like you were putting the bodies in the same location. It's obvious, but it does kind of throw them off almost a little bit when it's like, why is this one like this way? And this one is this way, but maybe we don't always get to find out. In some cases we do get to find out, a little bit more information comes out, not really sure. Manorville is about a 50-mile from Gilgo Beach. The town itself does not touch any beaches. Oh, police refer to her as simply another known escort on a website dedicated to the killings. That's tragic. That's like irreprehensible. Like, I cannot believe that that's how the police would talk about these women. And bet there's probably a bunch of misogynistic men out there that are going to go ahead and say the same thing, even though these women are somebody's family member and they deserve respect and they deserve justice as well, despite their life decisions. So then we also have hunters finding remains in 2000 right off Halsey Manor Road in Manorville. That's why we're talking about that. Jane Doe until May 28th, 2020, when she was identified as Valerie Mack 24, thanks to genetic genealogy testing. There she is. Okay, so her body was not found in a good condition. So later they were able to identify her as Valerie Mack. Here's another map. We've got Amber Lynn. Okay, we've got the first one, Melissa Bartholomew. Then we've got Amber Lynn Costello right over here. Same side of the road. Maureen Brainerd Barnes right there. Megan Waterman right there. All those are the 4 initially. Then we have 5th over here, way down a little bit more. Are you guys not seeing what I'm seeing right now? Oh, no, you are. Okay. Then we come a little further down here. Jessica Taylor was found in this area. Yeah, all coming down this side of the highway, whichever way they're driving, like probably this way. I don't know if that's east or westbound. Or, I mean, maybe even north or south. Got west over here. And 6, 7, and then 8 over here. The unidentified Asian male. We've got the Jane Doe. Is there an unidentified? Or was that original? Yeah, I think originally. Oh, this must be an old map. So that's the woman we were just talking about right here. Valerie Mack, who they were labeling as Jane Doe. And then we also have female toddler right in this similar spot. Right next to, actually. So maybe if they were found together, is that what somebody was saying? That's makes it even worse, you know? Non-Caucasian, police have said, believed to be female. So apparently, obviously, with how long they were there, had to be genetic testing to figure out who they were and what their identities were. This male was potentially between 17 and 23. Connected to the SEX trade in some way. And these common denominators indicate we have the one person committing these crimes. Oh, interesting. So what kind of common denominators do we have going on in the potential Portland serialist case? And this is where his body was located right there. The reads. What the heck is that? Peaches. Is that how they identified somebody with a tattoo? Now this person was found torso only, crammed in a black plastic bag inside of a green Rubbermaid container, along with a maroon towel and a flowery pillowcase, according to the outlet. The unidentified woman had a distinct tattoo of a peach with a bite taken out of it on her left breast, which led several in the media, including the Long Island Press, to refer to her as Peaches. She is believed to have been an African-American woman between 20 and 30 years old, and it appeared that she had a cesarean section, according to the Long Island Press. Oh, okay, no, we got the Jane Doe here. A skull only found, okay. Passersby walking through Blue Point Beach back on April 20th, 1996 had found the victim's legs wrapped in plastic, according to the Doe Network, which is a volunteer organization devoted to helping investigators close cold cases. Todd Matthews, often referred to as the first internet sleuth, helps run it. So see, look, sleuths do real things, okay? Sleuth means, and I learned the term for sleuth, it actually just means somebody that follows, it's following a trail. Right? Following a trail of clues. Following the crumbs. Police released video of Long Island serialist victim Megan Waterman at a hotel before she vanished. Okay, I thought they were going to talk about the video. A strange interview done by Rex Heuermann, or whatever his name is. And the guy, like I said, just gives me John Wayne Gacy vibes. Kind of, he's very he seems kind of pompous, kind of full of himself. Kind of an overinflated sense of self, which probably means because he's a psychopath, he has no sense of self. So interesting. This case sparked investigation. This is a picture of Shanann Gilbert. Very pretty. Aw. An escort who advertised on Craigslist. Not safe. I really honestly don't know why somebody would do that nowadays, and I'm not judging. It's just, whoa, like, there's so many psychopaths out there, like, operating online, and now we've got 2.0 stalkers and the technology. No, and I'm learning about it in my own way. I'm learning about, like, you know, PI work, becoming a private investigator, what it takes, all the spy gadgets, you know, but there's already people out there that are like much more savvy than some of us. And it's kind of creepy to think that sometimes they're like a couple steps ahead because they even coordinate, they even collaborate sometimes. She went missing from, visited a home in Oak Beach on May 1st to meet with a client. Driven by a driver who remained in the area while she visited the individual, police wrote at some point during the visit, Gilbert began acting irrational, and the individual contacted the driver to have Gilbert leave his home. Gilbert refused repeated attempts to leave the location with her driver and fled on foot into the Oak Beach community, knocking on several doors before disappearing. She was not found until 10 days after. Until after the 10 victims that officials believed were all killed by a serialist were found. Her skeletal remains were found in a marsh. How sad. People wouldn't listen, probably. In Oak Beach on December 13th, 2011, her clothing, cell phone, and purse were found a quarter mile away just a few days earlier. Weird. Police have claimed that she possibly died of natural causes, and officials had theorized at the time that Shanann may have been the victim of an accidental drowning. Oh, okay, sure. According to NBC New York, the Suffolk County Police Department told Oxygen.com that a medical examiner has ruled her cause of death as inconclusive. While she is not officially considered a victim, she is included on the Suffolk County Police Department's victims list on their site dedicated to the investigation. No, she definitely, at least it seems to me that it's connected. I mean, come on. Here's another picture of her face. All right, well, that's the end of that article. Let's go over here. Oh, I need to reshare. All right, so have I heard the 911 call she made? No, I have not. So maybe I do need to hear those first. And if there's some, I know somebody was saying something about like they're going to get me or something. No, but maybe it was one person and she thought it was multiple or something like that. No. I'll have to listen to those. Send me anything. Burner phones, Google searches, and pizza crust. How cops busted the Ogre-like Gilgo Beach suspect Rex Heuermann. I don't know that, but is this the same article I wonder that you were talking about? I did not do this, he sobbed. Sure. Okay, I think this is probably going to go into detail. Whoa, this one's pretty crazy, okay? The alleged Gilgo Beach slayer was in tears after his arrest on 3 counts of murder and sobbed, I did not do this. He's just sad because he can't keep doing what he's been doing. His lawyer revealed Friday. However, by the time of his arraignment, Rex Heuermann had become silent and betrayed no emotion in court as he was formally charged with murdering 3 women whose bodies were found on Long Island in 2010. Heuermann is a family man who is married to his second wife, Asa Ellerup, 59. Neighbors told the Post Friday they have 2 children, a daughter and a son. God, just living a whole double life. Creeps and McGeeps. But to police, he is a demon who walks among us, a predator who ruins families, said Suffolk County Police Chief Rodney Harrison. Oh, now that's how you talk about them. That is how you should have always been thinking of them all along, except no, at points, the police were referencing these women as just another prostitute, right? Heuermann was silent and betrayed no emotion in court as he was charged with murdering 3 women. Imagine after all the crying, no emotion now. Whose bodies were found on Long Island in 2010. Because it's like, whatever, the jig is up. You're already getting, you're going down. No point in even trying to hide it. When asked if the alleged killer was surprised when placed under arrest. Hold on a second really quick. Why did this? No, there's no point. Okay, you guys are seeing that. I disconnected that tab. And the other ones. If I go like this. Oh, no. Stop, Jeannie. All right. When asked if the alleged killer was surprised when placed under arrest, Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond Tierney responded, "I would say he was." He probably thought he was going to get away with it forever at this point. But all horrible things must come to an end. The towering, shaggy-haired architecture boss is accused of being the same ogre-like figure with dark, bushy hair who was seen soliciting SEX from one of the victims months before her disappearance years ago. Well, that was probably smart. See, they're really not that smart. God, towering ogre-like, man, he is pretty big, though. And then you imagine this big old dude subduing these, like, super small chicks that are, like, barely 100 pounds, not even. Freaking barely a buck. This guy easily. I mean, I wonder, like, I just wonder, did he keep them for very long before dropping them off and after doing his thing? Or, like, did he do the thing quickly and then dump them off? Like, I'm wondering. But you wouldn't necessarily look at this guy and think, would you? You would not think serialist if you looked at him. He just kind of looks like, I mean, he's not good looking. Quite the opposite, except, like, I mean, he just looks normal. Like, he's huge. Look at this towering dude. Wow. Arrested at his office in New York the previous day. Whatever. We don't care what he's wearing. Appeared unfazed as prosecutors rattled off a laundry list of reasons why he should be remanded. Locked away and throw out the key. See, they're talking about now the cell phone records, analysis of the burner phones, Google searches. Maybe we'll get into the Google searches here. I really wish that would stop showing. Okay. So, you know, forensic, what am I saying right now? Digital forensics definitely played a role here. We already talked about, and the DNA. He only spoke in court to confirm his name at the beginning of the packed hearing. He pleaded not guilty before Judge Richard Ambrose, cited the extreme depravity of the crimes in ordering him held without bail. He is charged with both first and second degree murder in the case of each of the victims, in each case, both first and second. He had a secret life of seeking prosts, searching for child, and an obsession with the women he is accused of killing and their families. So maybe some hardcore stalking, you know, going on like beforehand, and then just really eerily watching from the shadows all these years to see if anyone had ever put two and two together about him, right? He taunted those close to the murders and kept tabs on them despite living what looked like an otherwise normal life as a successful New York City-based architect. Now, that creeps me out also because Kristen Smith's mother, Melissa Smith, in her Facebook group that she made, was getting harassed by some random man who everybody was like, well, he's probably just a troll. But maybe he wasn't just a troll. He was saying he was the one that did it. And maybe his ego and arrogance, because these psychopaths they're very egoic. They're very arrogant. Like I said, they have an inflated sense of self, right? They love power. They love control. They love terrorizing people. So, I mean, there is a chance that person was potentially the one that did that to her daughter, right? Who may have also done the same thing to all these other women. What a horrible, horrible excuse for a human being. I'm so glad they caught this guy. Despite staying under the radar for years, that pop-up pops up one more time. It's about to freaking annoy the hell out of me. Heuermann actively sought SEX through websites and dating applications such as Tinder. No, I'm never using that app ever again. Yes, I've used it before, never using it again. You've got to be kidding me. I would never go for that guy per se anyway, but like, you can't know. I'm only meeting someone in real life, if at all, at this point. burner phones, bogus emails, and selfies to connect with SEX workers and other prospects, officials said. He continued to patronize workers, SEX workers, at all hours of the night. Jeez. Freaking Paul. Why is it coming up? This is an interesting article, although I'm like probably going to go ahead and wrap this up shortly. I do want to talk again about a couple other cases here in the Portland situation. Leftover pizza crust from a garbage can along 5th Avenue in Manhattan. A man's hair found on a piece of burlap that was used to wrap Waterman's body, the document states. Okay, that's how they made the genetic link. They're like, we're going to make sure you know this is the New York Post. Shoot, this is a really good article. Really long, though. Look at those eyes. Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those eyes? Okay, so I did not find the Google searches. However, I can't talk about them on here anyway. Actually, I don't even want to bring those up necessarily. Y'all go ahead and search for that if you're interested in knowing. Let me get back to StreamYard. Let me remove. Actually, let's not remove that one. Let's go right here. So let's watch a video really quick about the woman's body who was just found over here in Wilsonville. The mirror goes in deeper. Okay, yeah, well, you know what? Too late. I've already been reading articles to y'all for about an hour. You'll get sick of it. I'm sure you guys are already following this case. You know, I just wanted to jump on and I wanted to make some connections because I'm getting annoyed with the law over here on the West Coast saying that, you know, all these women that have been being found outside of the Portland area are not connected, because I truly believe that they are. And a new body has been found of an unnamed woman. They're not naming her until they can figure out who her family is, but she was found in Clackamas County. They think there has been at least one other woman found in Clackamas County, Oregon, in the same way, dumped off in the side of the road. I believe this woman was found in an abandoned home, in a home that was abandoned. It was like being sold or something like that, in a rural area, right? Neighbors weren't expecting this kind of thing to happen in their area. They're like, you expect this in the cities, but you don't expect it here. Well, maybe this person's preying on women in the cities and then taking them to these rural areas is what I like highly suspect. So I do believe that this is connected. And now that they found this woman's body, there's no doubt in my mind that there is also a serialist on the loose over here. There's a whole nother one that nobody has even pieced together. This woman right here. Anyone wants to start doing some sleuthing, I'm telling you, this woman, Amy Jean Myra, she was found 18 minutes away from the new body that was found also in Clackamas County. So now we have in a place called Happy Valley, as sick as that is, right? Where she was disappeared, she also was found very close by. And she is 46, so that's maybe a little older than the other ones, but it seems like their ages range from like maybe 20s to 40s. And it's just they're not all homeless. Like this woman wasn't. I don't think she was on her way to work. And then just probably got picked up by somebody, maybe even took a ride with someone, seemed very unsuspecting, and then was found dead shortly after. Now, this happened last year, right in July. And right now, again, in July, another body found in a similar area, 18 minutes away.
Those folks to help us, call us, provide those tips.
Detectives pleading for your help.
See, they're pleading for our help, so they want me to do this sleuthing.
They need clues to find the person who took her life. This is Queen 6 News at 10. I'm Elizabeth Din. Tonight, investigators in Wilsonville are trying to figure out who killed the woman and why. Jamie Seymour live tonight and digging deeper into what exactly happened in this mystery. Jamie?
Liz, the woman was discovered yesterday, and as they work to identify her, they're also searching for the person responsible. A grisly discovery at a vacant home sitting off a rural road near Wilsonville.
Clackamas County deputies were called to a property for sale on Southwest Stafford Road Monday morning after someone doing work there found a woman's body.
An autopsy was done this morning, and the Clackamas County
So at
Medical
least they're admitting that
Examiner's
it's a
Office
homicide.
ruled the death to be by homicidal violence.
The sheriff's office wouldn't go into further detail about how she died or what happened and couldn't release her identity as they worked to contact family. With little info and no suspects ID'd, they're now asking for the community's help as they work to solve this suspected murder.
A lot of people travel on that roadway on a daily basis, and so yeah, we're pretty hopeful, especially with the number
somebody
of
saw
homes in
something
that area.
We spoke to a neighbor off camera who says the property sat vacant for a bit before it was listed in the last month and was surprised when he came out yesterday to see heavy police presence next door. Investigators say in cases like this, witnesses make all the difference, so they're asking anyone nearby to check their doorbell or property cameras, or even recall if they saw someone suspicious in the area in the days leading up to July 10th.
We really rely on the public.
I feel like it is someone that
to
lives
help us
locally,
out.
honestly. Maybe in Portland.
We've got a great
maybe
community
surrounding.
here in Clackamas County, and they're there.
Oh, the
when we're
area,
not,
that's for sure.
right?
They definitely study the area if they're not from around here.
If you did see anything suspicious or
Feeling
you might
trucker
have any
details
details about what happened,
And I'm going to be
leading
doing
up
I'm going to be doing a
yesterday,
psychic
you're
live
urged to
stream.
Contact the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office tip line. We have all of that information on our website, coin.com.
Anyone knows anything?
Reporting live in
Forward.
Clackamas County, Jamie Seymour, Coin 6 News.
Yeah, we certainly hope someone is watching
Anything at
right
all, even
now
if it
and
seems
can give them the
insignificant.
clues that will
This is
help
how
them
we
solve
bust
this
these
case.
serial
Jamie,
killers
thank
like the
you.
guy that got taken down today, Rex Heuermann or whatever. I don't know why you gotta start doing that, playing ads and all this. Right? So this is new, right? New case. Just happened on Monday. That can we have this known? Asking for the public's help in figuring out how this woman was killed, ruled homicidal violence. Also, right off the side of the road. The other women who have been found here in the Portland cases, right off the side of the road. You know, it makes me wonder. One of the girls, Bridget Leanne Ramsey Webster, I believe is her name. She was found potentially nude with only shoes on. So that's kind of dark, you know? I mean, even if, I don't know, like that's just kind of telling. Like it's giving a calling card. It's giving something along those lines, right? And then you're telling me it's coincidence that just 1 year before, which would take the count up to 8, and some people are saying there's even more. This woman, Amy Jean Myra, was only 18 minutes away from the woman who was just found in Wilsonville, Oregon. When are the police going to admit that there is a serialist, or are they just trying to not tip this person off? Are they trying to not compromise the case? Is it because some of these women came from a vulnerable class, had addiction problems and things like that, that they're maybe not taking this fully seriously? But we see how that's gone over the years in the Long Island case with the Gilgo Beach Killer. Okay, not taking that case seriously, potentially postponed being able to find him sooner. Okay, so seems like he did his stuff and then kind of stopped there for a while. Maybe he wasn't able to get any more victims as easily, or maybe he just figured he was going to get caught faster if he continued on his rampage, right? But this woman, I'm telling you, no one's been talking about. I'm gonna be doing some boots on the ground sleuthing, like I said, here pretty soon. And I believe that there is a serialist over here on the West Coast, and I'm gonna find clues to prove it. So if you guys want to send me anything, any information, if you notice or find any links, please just send me whatever via email. I'll put my email right here. And I'm definitely open to any clues that you guys might have, or just any dots that maybe you've connected in your own way if you've been kind of trying to find some connections. But honestly, you saw it first here, this, like, Amy Jean Myra, how is it that a whole year has passed by and nobody actually kind of was like, hey, well, maybe this lady also might have been a victim because she was found in the same kind of way. And they're calling her death suspicious. And that's what they've labeled Kristen Smith's death as, and several of the other women. 2 of them are now being labeled as homicide. And that's that. I have a lot of notes. I'm going to be doing some turn this music on again. It's a little distracting. Just try not to get copyrighted up in here. So yeah, I'm going to be doing some remote viewing around this. I've been getting a lot coming through. I've been seeing the killer in these West Coast Portland area cases. I do believe I'm tapping into somebody, and so that'll be for another video. This is just more true on the true crime side of things, and yeah, so hopefully you did not just hear that because I got a microphone right there. I should have turned the other way. So yeah, I wanted to cover this news about Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach Killer, being arrested and apprehended. He is being held, and he is going to be probably going to court here pretty soon again. I imagine we're going to see a lot more. So this article, I think back here, was saying like it still remains a mystery. So that was done a little while back. Let me just stop sharing, remove. I'm the spiritual genie. I am a psychic medium, but I also just do true crime. So if you guys like what I do over here, if you support the channel, whatever, I can't talk anymore. I've been talking for too long. 111. Hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe if you love my vibe and want to become part of the tribe. Feel free to send me an email if you have found any clues in the potential Portland serial killer case. I'm going to be continuing to sleuth that one as the body count is rising also. So I just wonder how many it's going to take before police are going to take it seriously. So that's it for now. I love you guys. Please stay safe, okay, out there. I will also do the same. Stay vigilant. Keep your senses alert. Keep your eyes peeled. And don't take anything for granted. We've got sick individuals blending into normal society. They are hiding among us, okay? So we do need to have our faculties about us, right? Which I am choosing to do at this point in my life. Keep your faculties, your wits about you, and cherish life every day, because life is precious and it can be taken from you in the blink of an eye. And anyway, that's it. I love you. I'm just rambling on and on. And until next time, I'm the Spiritual Genie. Thanks for stopping by. Hit the other comment section. Tell me what you guys think about all this. And tell me if you think that there is potentially an SK serialist operating around Portland. I'm sure I've already said the word a bunch of times, the words. Love you guys.